Hi, this is John with John's Workshop, and I'm back working on the GL550 from 2008 again, and in this episode we're going to look at the multi-contour seat option and why that's not working. This GL550 has the multi-contour seat option, and the way you can tell that is with this little control unit down here where you've got some buttons that you can push to move like these side pieces in to kind of hold you a little bit tighter, and you can also kind of move some things around in here. Basically it's all air bladders, but it does not work in this car. The pump that runs those seats is right back in here. Just to give you an idea, we're back at the very back on the driver's side here, and that pump is sitting right down in there. Okay, so I just kind of pulled this out of there. That's how the wiring was in there, like that. If I take the cover off, then that's what I see. Just unplugged the connector and well, it doesn't look good. Here's what's in this little box is you've got just this little pump motor, little controller there. That's pretty much it. Here's this little pump motor. So I just took the brushes off. I did mark what side I think is positive, so the wires go back on right. And you can see there's the brushes. This is going to be kind of tricky to put back together again. And here you can see the commutator in there is, I don't know, it looks a little bit burned. Kind of like maybe it needs to be cleaned. The gap between the copper segments looks actually pretty good, but I think we just have some burning on the commutator there we need to clean up. Here's a better look at that commutator. I just pulled a little white plastic washer off the end to allow getting to this a little bit better, and I think I'm just going to try to clean that off a little bit, see if we can get the carbon buildup off of there. I've got some fine sandpaper here, and I'm going to give that a try. Just kind of manually holding that in there and rotating it. So this appears to be the way to do this. It's just get the sandpaper like this, kind of curve it around, and then just lightly kind of go back and forth like this. And that's cleaning up the commutator quite nicely. It really doesn't take much pressure, and this is the like a 600 grit fine sandpaper. So this is all we need to really do to get this thing cleaned up. And then don't forget to blow that out with some arrow. I got like an arrow duster here, so I'm just going to make sure there's no dust or anything left in there. There we go. And then got to put the little washer back on here. Got this, there it goes, just push that back on there, and I think we're ready to go back together. So for reassembly, I'm just using 2 drill bits here like this and kind of holding these brushes apart because they've got to be held apart as this goes back on. Got that back together and trying to line up my little magic marks there. Kind of see right there. So that should get things back just the way they were, like that. And this is lined up. Just using a screwdriver here, pushing this down. I'm going to apply some voltage here and just see if we've got any action on the motor here. Oh, definitely. Alright, looks like we've got a working motor. So with a little bit of scraping and cleaning around in there, I've got all the green stuff pretty much out of there, and I feel like when we put this back together it'll be making good contact. Here's the motor back in with the little white insulating spacers. You can see there's one right there by my thumb that keeps the motor shoved up this way, probably so this doesn't come off of the end of the pump there. So this is all together, ready to go, ready to put the cover back on. All right, so here's the cover. It's got its little insulation pieces in there, and it's time to put this back together. Just gonna slide that in there like that, and there it is. I've got the connector cleaned up pretty well here. I believe it's gonna make good electrical connection, and so I'm gonna use a little bit of dielectric grease on here just to try to keep any kind of moisture out in the future. And then it needs to go back into its little foam gasket thing here to make it quiet. Had this all back together, plugged in and everything, and nothing. It didn't do anything. So I'm gonna have to take this box back apart and see if we've got an electrical problem inside there. The motor we know runs, but I don't know about the other stuff. So with this plugged in and the car turned on, I've got 12 volts. I just measured it across these two wires and then also down to this green wire below, and there's only 3 wires going in there. So that should be commanding it to turn the pump on. Measure the voltage at the pump and it's 0. So I suspect there's something fishy in this. Like the connection is getting in here okay, we're getting the 12 volts in here, but there's something in the electronics that's not working properly. Yeah, so with 12 volts between the orange and red, 12 volts between the orange and this green wire, I got nothing in here. And if we turn the key off, then the power to the green wire goes away and you still have the 12 volts here. So I'm assuming that when you turn the key on, that tells this thing to fire up the compressor, and I believe what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to pump up, and the 2 lines that come through here, one of those is the pump output, which is this one right here. So the pump pumps in that one, and this is a sense line. So there's a pressure switch. This little red thing right here is a pressure switch. So what I believe is happening is, or supposed to happen, is that the compressor runs until this pressure gets high enough and then it shuts off. So then it's got like a little reservoir in there somewhere in the car that is pressurized. And then whenever you move the seat, it just uses some of that pressurized air. But we're not even getting the compressor to run. The motor's good, but I believe this electronics board to be bad. So this is what I'm going to try to find on eBay. I ordered this one off of eBay with the new unit plugged in and hooked up here. I'm going to turn on the ignition. So go ahead and turn on the ignition. There you go. And did you hear that little pump? So now that I've got this working, this is the way it goes back in here. It's just kind of put this back together like that, kind of fits together, and then it seemed like the trick of getting this in and out was to kind of push the bottom of it in first over this direction here, and then took a little bit of kind of finagling around here to get this foam thing back in. You kind of reach your hand underneath here and help guide it and kind of wiggle it around a little bit. And there it is back in place. What I found was in the very bottom corner, straight down below my finger here, as you're pushing that foam in, it wants to get kind of caught up back there. So you've got to really kind of help it along in there as it goes down in. And you can also stick your finger kind of in the bottom here and kind of help pull it away from that corner as you're pulling it in to get it in there. It kind of takes a little bit of messing around, but it does fit in there, and you really don't have to force the thing back in there too much. But there it is, all ready to go. There's the compressor running, so we know the compressor is good. You can just hear it, it'll pump and then it'll stop. front. If I push on this button here, it's kind of hard to see, but it's actually pushing this in, filling that up with air. Probably can't see that too well. It's a little bit hard to see, but basically when you push these buttons, it either lets out air or it puts air in. You can hear it. So it's working. All right, another successful repair on the Multicontour seat this time. And next, we're going to tackle more leaks. So stay tuned for the next episode on finding leaks. Thanks for watching.